continue on a series of podcasts discussing the music and lyrics, themes, and making of the great new Eric Hutchinson album, Before and After Life. I'm James, that's Eric, and we just went through the first two songs of the Afterlife section, and you could see the transition between solemnity and a little bit of comedy, looking at life with a bittersweet, or death, I should say, and life with a bittersweet sense of looking in the past and mourning, and then just a song about a zombie. No. So anyway, so now we get on to something that really does actually transition from life after life, and that is hell or something like it. Now, the first thing I have to ask you before we do anything else is everyone once in their life should write a hell or devil song. And everyone does.
Yeah.
So this is your shot. You wrote a God song on the last one.
Yep.
We're going the other way. But you're not Satan here. But you're in hell or something like it.
I'm a confused soul.
But what the hell is something like it? Is that like the subway in July when they don't have air conditioning?
I don't know. I just sort of like this idea. This is a person coming to grips with the idea that, oh, crap, I think I'm in hell. Or at least something like it. Like, I don't know.
But what's like it?
I don't know. It's sort of my thing, again, of the unknown of, like, what do we... I doubt that hell is actually just a big red cave with fire and people walking around with pitchforks, you know? Like, no, for me, it's
a bad pop song played over and over again.
Yeah, right. There's a bunch of little things going on that just slowly eat away at you.
The DMV?
Yeah, right, exactly.
A bad date.
You're waiting in a line that never ends.
Never ending
for something
line.
You're not sure you want to do anyway, or whatever.
How did you... Go ahead.
I was going to say, we just talked about how life after life is sort of the story of the body after death, and this song is the story of the soul after death, you know, and I sort of liked the comedic idea of ending up in the wrong place, or at least you feel you did or something, you know, and I've got a line at the end, there's not room in heaven for us all, you know.
Right.
So I had fun with this one, and the band really killed it, and Wayne Tucker and Hila Kulik's solos are fantastic, so
great.
It's just got a great vibe to it.
I just want to get to the music for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I wrote. This song has more than a little nod to the Squirrel Nut Zippers song, Hell. Have you ever heard that song?
I have.
It is very much like a Cuban salsa number.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's great because you get that a lot, these songs of dread or songs about, like the Tino Puente songs. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, these songs like, I hate you, go jump in the sewer.
Yeah.
Which the Simpsons did a fantastic job of exploiting when Tito was still alive. Remember that thing with Mr. Burns?
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of that. You know, it's another one of those examples like you did with the Believers, where you got the band to come all in. They completely embrace that Cuban salsa thing going on here, and the horns, as you mentioned, and everything really works musically. Please comment on that first. I know you mentioned you really love that they went there, but talk about, was there any talk, okay, this is what I want it to sound like? Because this song has a specific sound.
Yeah, and I think maybe this one, more than all the others, didn't require that much explanation. This is like a certain type of song. They knew what to do. There's certain rules within a song like this and an chord progression. So like this one came together very quickly with the arrangement and everything. So I struggled with the lyrics a lot, like I said in the last song. So I took stuff out of this one too. I enjoyed having the editing process of I'm not allowed to have background vocals because I had like more words in the chorus. It was like blah, 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 this must be hell or something like... There was just more words and I couldn't sing it all. And so I eventually, the option was either which ones do I want to sing? And so it actually became, okay, let's base that first part around the horn riff. So it's ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da, this must be hell. It creates a new way of approaching it that I wouldn't have done otherwise. And it doesn't have to include me as much.
Am I dead? Feel so less than whole. Everywhere I look, no good rotten souls.
Did you send, I think they told me you sent them acoustic demos of this first?
Yeah. And then we ran through stuff and we made some just like real simple recordings. And that stuff I've been sharing with the E-Hutch Club so they can hear some of the earlier versions of these songs and stuff.
And I write here, like the God song from your last album, New Religion, as if there is a place you are trying to represent sonically. This is the insight to a kind of musical playwright, or, in other words, if you were going to write a musical number and you wanted to depict hell in it, that's how you would do it. Like, in other words, there's a character within the structure of the music here. You can envision it being performed by a dance troupe in a big production number with orange-hued flames and smoke and ash in the background. The humor in the song is a continuation from, again, what Life After Life was, into a more humorous take on death. And then, of course, hell or something like it. And I'm always curious, well, I was curious, when in the chorus you're saying, this must be, like you just sang it, this must be hell, something like it, because hell has got to know my name. Now, why does hell have to know your name? Do we all feel in some senses that we're not really heaven material if we really get down to think about it?
I think that's sort of this person. I don't necessarily know this is me in this song, but it could be. It's
the narrator. Let's say the narrator.
I feel like most people would be surprised they end up in hell, Like, they're like, ah. And then so this guy's sort of grappling with that of like, yeah, I mean, they got to know my name at least. I was close, but I'm pretty sure this is a mistake. And he's saying, check the paperwork. And
yeah. There must be some reason why I'm on this list.
Yes, I just feel like most people would be like, I wasn't that bad.
This I don't deserve, though I was no saint. Check the paperwork. There must be some kind of mistake.
It's funny. I've had a completely opposite view of life. I kind of feel like I've been getting away with stuff for too long.
So you feel like you'd show up to hell and be like, yep, I knew it.
Oh, yeah. I just hope I get, like, the BC version of hell, not the... Now, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, are there levels of hell? Like, is there a Hitler hell? And then there's a guy who...
So is there maximum security and minimum
Al
security
Capone hell?
Yeah, but I bet you Al Capone showed up and was like, I shouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm a great guy.
I
did all kinds of good stuff for people.
Yeah, he's not self-aware at all. Like Huey Long or something. There's always characters like that in Americana or anywhere. But I think that someday someone's going to knock on the door and be like, come with us. No, I'm serious, because...
What kind of bodies you have buried?
No. And I'm not saying I've done horrible things, but, what's the litmus here?
Well, this is the whole point of hell as a construct, is to keep you honest.
What's the litmus?
I feel like they were just like, don't do any bad stuff, and everyone's like, yeah, we're going to do bad stuff. And then they came up with
everything's bad.
And then they came up with the idea. They're like, okay, it's not even this life. After this, you'll be in a really bad place, and that's even worse. So, like, that's why you should be good now. Like,
so you're saying that in humanity's sense, not having a giant carrot like heaven, where for the rest of eternity you live in a blissful peace, you really have to show them the alternative.
Yes.
You keep this shit up, this is what happens.
Yeah, you got one or two. You got two options. Which one do you want? It seems this is a little simplistic to me in a world when we know that the living world is so much more complicated.
Well, they have other things now. Well, they have had for the last, a century and a half.
Okay.
The Catholics have the limbo for babies that are not baptized. And then, what's the word I'm looking for? The other thing. Someone's going to be yelling at their...
Purgatory?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you got purgatory, which is kind of a halfway house.
Yeah, but I've always thought that purgatory was, just a means to an end where you just sit there until they figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, but who's figuring this out? That's the other thing.
It's just, like the DMV. It's just processing and paperwork, and you're sitting there for 10 years. And
do you have ID? No, I don't.
All the stuff has been addressed well in the TV show The Good Place, if you want to check that out.
Yes, that is a good one. Yeah, Ted Danson. I was going to say, it's going to be like, do you have ID? No, I left my wallet at home. I'm Mother Teresa.
Yeah, right.
Nice to meet you.
But so I just, that's a good rhyme there. I'm Mother Teresa. Nice to meet you.
There you go.
But I guess looking at these lyrics now, I like this idea that this person's in denial. Mm-hmm.
Not self-aware at all.
Yeah, he's like, everywhere I look, no good, rotten souls. That's not me, though.
There must be some kind of mistake, isn't here?
Yeah.
This must be hell or something like it. This must be hell or something like it. 'Cause hell has got to know my name. This must be hell or something like it. This must be hell or something like it. 'Cause hell has got to know my name.
Can I make this observation? I wrote down here, fucking unbelievable great piano solo from Hila Kulik here.
Yes.
Careening into the Cuban flavor with the verve. It's just, first of all, watching her play piano from behind so I could see everything she was doing on the keys, what a treat. And she did nothing the same. She always made sure she did the same she went in the same directions, but never the same thing. Same thing you were doing with your vocals, and I'm sure other musicians were doing too, but with the piano, it was so easy to see that. Just a magnificent job by her.
Yeah, and I think that's the real thing that makes something jazz as opposed to something else is jazz is freeform and can't be as constructed, I mean, they can do parts, but that's what's fun to me was each thing was different, and she was finding her place. And I feel really proud to have these musicians on the record and to have a solo like this in a song of mine. Feels different and cool. And I'm, like I said, I'm very proud to have her on this.
And then I also make the comment, the quintessential Cuban-style trumpet.
Yes.
Once again, this group of musicians display why they're perfect for the style and totally embrace it, and in fact drive the song past merely being a fun commentary and owning the rhythms of it and driving it home. Much like what you did when you said, the first 4 or 5 songs are just so love songs, they're so it can be saccharine, maybe they're just too sweet. I think in this case, this very much could be parody. Mm-hmm. But it's not. It's fun, like New Religion, where you took a ragtime style and just went for it. If you go for it, I think, it's the whole Monty Python theory to life. Just play the skit out.
Yeah,
it might be funny, it might not, but just play it for all it's worth. And I think that's what this is. Really, seriously, because you're trying to create a character with the music, and that's hard to do. So you might as well just own it and play it.
Right. And like you said, the song style is a character in its own. It puts you in a certain place. And that was the thing. When I was first writing the song, it couldn't be about anything other than hell. That's where the song was going.
Or something like it.
Yes.
We all think we're good. No one likes to fall. Did the best I could. But there's not room in heaven for us all.
So, again, when you approach a song like this, is there the worry that you're not going to be able to get that point across because you're being so satirical? Is there ever a worry? Because I worry about that. When you're being satirical, when you're being ironic, people might not take it that way. So is there ever a worry? Because the band's all in, so I assume you're all in. When you're in the writing process of something like this, you're like, do I really want to put this on this? Do I really want to say these things? Do you ever have those moments of doubt?
Yeah, sure. And I guess my feeling why there's 2 funny songs about death is that death could use some levity and You know, well, I do. I feel it's a very emotional and vulnerable time, which also sounds a lot like Waiting for a Child. Like, there's a similar thing of just you can't hide the rawness, and so I thought it was fun to sort of celebrate these things and look at them maybe not as seriously as we always do. I don't feel like there's something in this song that I'm really trying to hit you over the head with. I don't have an agenda with this song, so I didn't feel like, oh, I'm going to lose out on that. But like I said, the song just kind of felt like it had to be about hell. It just felt like a hell song, you know? And like you said, everyone writes their devil song at some point. And
Yeah.
But I just sort of like the juxtaposition of a person who feels like they're not supposed to be there.
Right. Yeah, that's the key. It's not really that much about hell. It's about somebody who's not self-aware that they've been rotten.
Right.
And what, me? What, me worry? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This must be hell or something like it. This must be hell or something like it. 'Cause hell has got to know my name.
Finally, I would say it's not so much that you're writing a song about. It's not like, so in other words, in the old days, they would say, someone would pitch a song. I got this idea. I want to do a song about the Jonestown Massacre. You know,
right.
And people are like, what? No one wants to hear that. But if you're a really great songwriter, if you're a really great commentator, if you could mine the humor, like the Randy Newmans I mention all the time, or the Warren Zevons, or the Tom Waits, or the Frank Zappas, or the Eric Hutchinsons, if you could take something out of that to make us all go, hey, yeah, and then move on to the next song, that's a talent.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the song other than, you know, again, it was sort of, I think, after I was in Mexico, and it's not a Mexican song per se, but it's a Latin song, and it just felt like I feel like, especially in our world, hell is such a big part of what we think of as the afterlife. There's heaven or hell, but it's like, that feels like pretty big stakes.
Right. And but by the way, hell's much more fun to write about.
Yeah.
Way more fun to write about. Satan is way more interesting than God.
But also, no one's going to complain if they show up in heaven by accident.
That's why it's so much more fun to write about hell.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Well, it's a song about self-awareness in hell or something like it. Pretty good penultimate song.
Penultimate.
Yeah, for this record.
And this is the penultimate podcast.
Yes, we're not quite at the end yet, but almost. So you're going to get a reprieve from hell. Can you imagine if you end the record like this?
This must be